Welcome to CodeRush Feature of the Week. So Mark, what have we got this week?
I want to show you one refactoring, kind of a simple refactoring, but very useful, very powerful. It's called Promote to Parameter. And I just want to show you the code that I'm going to work on here. This is like some real functional code, not so terribly contrived. So here's my running app right here. And when I move the mouse inside the button, it kind of stretches like that. And it does a little animation from normal size out to the wide size. It doesn't go back when I remove. So there, I would like when I move the mouse out for it to kind of shrink back down. And I would actually like it to stretch not only in the X, but in the Y direction. So I've kind of started the work and I want to get to the next step. And what we'll see is you'll see the existing code. And using extract method and introduce parameter, my goal is to make this code so it's easier to use and reuse, and it does the full thing where it increases both height and width, so it just looks like it scales up as I mouse over, and when the mouse leaves, I want it to return back to its normal size.
So we're aiming for extended functionality, but also more readable code, more flexible code.
Right, exactly. And so that's the goal. I have this block of code here, right here. I want to extract this first. I'm creating a double animation here. Here's the time that I'm specifying in milliseconds, 180. I've got a from starting scale here. And by the way, you see here, it's going to work on the apply to the scale X. Right here, that's what's happening down here. And so I'm starting at a 1.0 scale and going to about 25% bigger. That's what's happening here.
Sure.
We set the target property and we do some more stuff down below. But right now, I just want to get that double animation out, and I want to grab it. So I'm gonna go ahead and extract this method right here. And we'll do that. I'll call this get double animation, like that, and we're passing in the storyboard, and there you can see it happening right there. And there we're then coming in and we're setting that target property there to the next part. In fact, what we could do is we could actually even grab this part and extract this out, and we'll say get scale animation, like that.
Sure.
By the way, I should totally point out that I'm just improvising and riffing right now. I started with the code, an idea of where I want to go, but no rehearsal has ever taken place with this code before, which is good because it kind of gives you a sense of what's happening.
It's more real world.
Yeah,
right? So it's more real world. This is how things actually happen and how quickly we can think on the fly and get things done with CodeRush.
Right. So not bad. We're in a good state here so far. But what we want to do is we wanted to work with both the X and the Y. And I guess we could start with that. And we could say, well, hey, look at this. We've got this, the scale animation that's happening right here. We see the call there. Here it's coming back in this double animation right here. We can inline this temp right here. We just come in here and inline this temp like that, bring that in there. So now we've got our grow animation X is getting our scale animation. We could call this just get the X scale animation. But what I really like to do instead is specify the property path that I want to apply it to, right? So what I'm going to do instead in here is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put the caret inside the string, and I'm going to choose promote to parameter. And what that's going to do is it's going to take that string, and everywhere it's called, it's going to insert it in the calling right there.
Sure.
And then I can just come in here and say what I want to call this. Now, maybe I'll just call this property path instead. Well, now look what's happened. Before we called this get scale animation method, because that made sense at the time. But now we can maybe just call this like a get animation, right?
Yep.
Something more general, because we can specify any property path to it, and it'll set that whole thing up. It's getting us a double animation that is along that path. In fact, maybe I will call this double. I think I'm going to come in here and I'll rename this again to get double animation. So now we just have two double animations, one that takes an additional property path. Okay?
Yeah.
That's not bad. But let's come down here and look at this get double animation. This is the first one that we pulled out. Remember this? It's got a from and a to down here.
It does.
Now I want to do a promote to parameter here. So I'm just put the caret on there because I want to actually specify where I'm starting and where I'm ending. Because when we go into it, we're going to always start at 1.0 scale and go to 1.25 maybe. But when we go out, we want to reverse those numbers. So I need these as parameters if I want to reuse this code, because everything else in this code is sweet. It's like really awesome code. I'm very happy with it. So let's go ahead. We're going to bring that out right there. We're going to give this, we're just going to call this from, and you'll notice that right up here in our get double animation call, it added the call to the one right there. We're going to come out here. We're going to promote to parameter here. We'll call this 2 like that. And it's looking pretty sweet. It's not bad. Now up here in this call, we want to do the same thing. We want to come in here, promote to parameter again, call this from. Notice what's happening. We're just passing this out to the outside world here, right? We're showing just how useful and fast it is to add parameters to your methods very quickly using CodeRush. So now we've got this killer get double animation that takes the path, takes the from, takes the to. All of that is coming in here like this. In fact, we could even come in here and inline the temp one more time, right? Like that. And now we can just use duplicate line on here, come down here. We want all this. Let's come in here. We're going to change this to scale Y. And so now we have this right here where we've got this, we're setting up this target here, the double animation on both of these on the button. Let's just try running this, Rory, and see how this feels. Okay?
Sure, yeah.
And here we go. We'll move in. And moving out doesn't work yet, but moving in definitely is now growing in both the width direction and the height direction. You can see it growing both ways.
Can indeed.
Okay. All right. So that's not bad. We're getting a little bit closer to where we want to be here. So this is Animate Scale right here. We're calling Animate Scale from mouse button enter, but we really want to be able to call it from both places. That means we want to specify the from and the to in both of these positions here. So our from, by the way, is here, right here. You see this 1.0 here. You see it there and there. What we can do is we can come in here and we can introduce a local constant for all of these right here. And we're just going to call this, we'll just call this from, because I'm liking that so far. Maybe I'll get rid of the const right there. And then we also needed the to. So we need to do the to, the same thing down here as well. So we can come down in here and we can use that trick to get in there, get all of those in there. And we're going to call that the to, and then we'll just delete that const. So we've got it as a variable in both of those cases. Now you saw me promote the primitives to parameters. I can also come in here on the local variables and I can choose promote to parameter as well. So we'll do that. There's our from. And what's cool here is we don't even have to name it because the variable's already named. There's our to, like that. Now let's get down here. I'm using tab to next reference. Just quickly get down to it. Let's copy this code. Let's pop it in the mouse leave. And now we just want to swap the order of these two arguments so that we go from 125 down to 1.0 and run it.
Yep.
And whoops, let me move out. There you go. And now you can see it.
Very nice.
Not bad. Now, one complaint you might have is you might be like, yeah, you know what, Mark? I think the speed is not the speed I want it to be, right? Like maybe when you leave, I want it to shrink really quickly. But when it's in, I kind of like the speed that it's at. That's not a problem, right? Here's our milliseconds right here. You know what to do at this point, right? Hit promote to parameter, call this the time, for example, like that. I'm just going to copy that to the clipboard because I know I'm going to do the same thing all the way out here. I'm going to come in here, promote to parameter like that, call it time. And now you can see we're right up here. And again, do the same thing right up here like this. Although for this one right here, we want to group all of these together first. So I'm going to use this trick right in here to grab all these to get them together. Then I'm going to actually change the type. It's to a double, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to promote that to parameter as well. So there's our time coming in there from this point. Well, it looks like we have just a couple minor things right here. It was I wasn't paying attention as we were doing this. It was suggesting the time was an int all the way along the lines because it started as 180, which was declared as an int. I just went down and quickly changed both of those. And now back here in our Animate Scale, now we can come back here and make that final change that we talked about, where we'll come out of that in 90 milliseconds, go in.
Yeah, half the time on the back way back out.
Yeah, in fact, I might just bump it up even a little more like that. And let's just to show how cool this is now that we have parameters, how easy it is. Now that code that was very static at the beginning, now it is much more flexible, easier to read. Run it one more time, and there it is. So we're going much bigger.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
And shrinking much faster.
I've got to say, Mark, I really like the combination of extract method and promote to parameter. Obviously, they can be used independently, but you're looking at your fairly static code, fairly lengthy code in some cases, and you extract away the pieces. This section is for this purpose, and then you get to specialize it as well. So in this case, we take the numbers, the specific numerics that are for this instance, and we kind of extract them back the other way using promote to parameter, specializing the initial call, but keeping that genericism that we've now got with the actual method, the get double animation. It's absolutely brilliant for taking a piece of code and making it, as we've seen here, useful in so many other situations.
Yes, it's awesome.
Thanks very much, Mark. That's fantastic. Okay, we'll see you next week on CodeRush Feature of the Week. For more Feature of the Week videos, click one of the 2 video links on screen or select from our playlist. Download and learn more about CodeRush from the DevExpress website. And be sure to subscribe to our channel to receive all the latest CodeRush feature videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.